what is the Upland Metaverse? Only the greatest thing since sliced bread cheese.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, this is a recent article. It doesn't have the author, which I was going to be interested to find out who this was, because this is not a FUD piece. This is a FOMO piece. And I like how the text is nice and big for old people with bad eyes like me. So the heading here, take that away, cheese.
As the world moves more and more into the digital sphere, everyone is excited to see what will be the next thing to go virtual.
Yes, well, one of the latest answers is the whole world, full stop. The new game sweeping the globe is known as the Upland Metaverse, and it is quickly outpacing similar metaverses with its variety, sophistication, and user numbers. Yeah, that's always been the weird thing, isn't it? Like Upland, the daily active users on Upland is far superior to any of these other metaverses that are out there. So that's a weird one. It says specifically, Upland Metaverse involves the digital ownership of property all over the world, including more than 20 cities that have already become active. Comparisons have also been made to Monopoly because of the similarity that Upland's features bear to the famous board game. Well, obviously, because that was one of the main motivations for Dirk, Idan, and the other bloke.
The other
It is
bloke.
said to, the mysterious other bloke. It is said to be several times larger than any of the other metaverse games out now. Yes, absolutely. So this is a full-on, the opposite of FUD. I don't know if, is that a FOMO? Yeah, it's got to be a FOMO piece, isn't it? And then it goes into a bit of the history of what it is. And here we go. Take that away, cheese.
What makes this metaverse unique? Upland involves the digital ownership of both real physical locations as well as digital assets. And it allows its players to own a variety of different types of infrastructure, including roads, bridges, and buildings. Roads? I don't know. The types of games that can be played are more varied and sophisticated than those of other games. And there's a digital currency that can be used to purchase new assets. Now, what do you think they mean by roads? Because I do know that some places that you buy shows like maybe a highway or an underpass underneath the L, the train station.
Well, you definitely can't buy bridges, so I don't know why that's there. Roads, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. I own most of S Longwood Drive in Chicago, so maybe I can claim ownership to that. But yeah, I don't know about that. And there is a digital currency that can be used to purchase new assets. Yes, blah 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 blah. Now this is what I wanted to get through when I had a quick skim through. One example of a feature that is unique to Upland is the ability to open a metaventure. Metaventures are businesses that exist within the world of Upland and are owned by players. I mean, if you're somebody who's watching or listening, you probably know all about Upland, so this is not news to you. But if you're one of the listeners that's maybe not actively engaged in Upland, maybe it is. Cheese and I are heavily involved in a current user-generated content, a UGC metaventure, where we create our own items from our brains and our fingers and our clicky-clacking, and we're able to get those approved by Upland. We're able to sell them in-game for the in-game currency and USD, and we're well on the way with that. And Slav is also somebody who's working like a mad fiend on the back end for like layer 2 experiences that again can be directly ported in, or ported to.
I can't wait to get to Slav's stuff because he's a freaking evil genius when it comes to stuff like this.
Yes, and it says here, this is probably one of the main takeaways. With one another, players are actually able to form communities of sorts. Yeah, absolutely. How many communities are there in the Upland Metaverse? Holy moly! How many fingers and toes does your whole family have? Yeah, there's a lot. We've got cult-based communities like the UDU. We've got, there's Evergreen Lasher, the hip-hop communities. Pretty much whatever you can think of, there's probably a community out there if you do a bit of clicky-clacking and digging around.
Which is awesome. I love it.
And if there's not a community that interests you, well, it's pretty easy to start your own. And I'm sure you'll find one or two people that share the same interests. So it says the game serves not only as a forum for competition, but also a way for people to meet and socialize with one another. Yeah, that's where the biggest strength for Upland. We've said that for years now, is it's the community that's the main strength currently. In addition, Upland offers an NFT to USD program. Yep, we mentioned that, which is a great incentive for players who eventually want to keep their winnings in dollars. Yes. All right, take that next bit away, Cheese.
Upland creators credit the game's success to its user friendliness and wide mobile accessibility, which is important. Its design allows for any number of different games to be deported to its metaverse, and it supports a range of different types of platforms.
Yes,
like
absolutely.
I want to just say that Upland is, and I'm somebody who through my life has networked a lot. I'm from New York. I've worked in big places, and Upland is huge when it comes to networking and like introducing people and meeting people. Even if you're socially inept, you will do good in Upland.
Absolutely. And for me, that the biggest takeaway for me is wide mobile accessibility. I discovered Upland purely because back in the day it was they were advertising it as a mobile-based blockchain game. It's like, oh, that's interesting. I was interested in mobile gaming at the time, interested in blockchain, and that's the reason that I've stuck around, is because I can do most of these things on mobile. And Cheese, you don't know this. We have had lots of dramas with me moving inventory from our UGC factory to our showroom. I haven't been able to do that on mobile for months. It's been glitching out on a white screen crash. Jennifer and the team have worked through, and I did the update on the app this morning, and it's working again. So yeah, if you're a mobile first app, there is, and probably Slab could probably speak to this as well, like trying to do layer 2 stuff. That is so much work. There's so many different types of mobile devices. They're always being updated. It's always throwing glitches. It's a lot to keep up on. So yes, so that's pretty cool for me. And I think this might be the last one. Will it get even better?
Yes.
Well,
I don't even have to read it. Yes.
It has to. There's no shortages of fudders out there. There's a lot of people that have been around for a long time who have gotten very frustrated with the pace of things getting better.
Yeah, they're gonna miss it. They're gonna miss the slow moving, because this is our chance, everybody's chance, to just kind of get their ducks in a row. Once this comes out and once things start coming out, it's gonna be speed. It's gonna be fast motion, and they're gonna miss the slow days.
Yes, absolutely. And like we're past the 2-year mark when the Samurai Aquatics, MetaVenture was approved. We're past 2 years from once that was approved to, and now we're still dealing with glitches and that, because it's still very much in beta, that process. So yes. Upland announced several upgrades that are due to be put in place this year. One of them involves the introduction of a competitive racing game. We did see that app come through. I think we touched on that last week. The Upland racing game is very minimalist, shall we say, whereas I'm sure Slab's going to speak, like some of the stuff that Slab's been putting out. Holy moly, that's on a different level to the extreme. So
the boys can do the better stuff. I was working with, like this Land for Land on. They're really good at the actually mini games and then development in Unity. It's amazing what you can do.
Absolutely. And it says, in 2023, there'll be also different types of MetaVentures. Fully expecting structure ornament showrooms to come through as resale showrooms. I expect they'll come through it's got to be within the first half of this year, I would imagine. And then hopefully, if we're lucky, maybe by the end of the year, we might have our first structure ornament, UGC people out there who are creating structure ornaments for sale, like we do with the outdoor decor. That would be really cool.
That'd be so cool.
We'll have to wait and see. And then it goes on to mention some of the partners and whatnot. So, this chat thing's a bit of a weird one. So it mentions in-game chat has come through recently, which finally that kind of gives it that more metaverse-y feel. I don't know. It's. I think we covered this on the UU podcast. Everyone that contacts me on chat, I'm like, hit me up in Discord, because this chat features a pain in the button on mobile.
It's
tiny
hard
little
to
screen.
See.
Yeah, it's hard to see. Tiny buttons. So. But again, it's a very MVP at the moment, minimal viable product. So we're expecting improvements for that. Upland is working on the improvement of its onboarding. Yeah, that needs a hell of a lot of work.
Yeah.
And what's this one? One of the criticisms that Upland has gotten in the past is that it is difficult to learn and that getting started can be a laborious procedure. Yeah, I would not like to be a new user coming in.
Yeah, like it took me so long to figure out FSA and collection. I watched so many videos. I went into chat, and like I'm the kind of person that I'll keep asking questions even if I'm getting made fun of. And I ask so many questions. There's a lot of people that don't like to do that.
Yes.
So
And then what about the competition? Will other metaverses catch up on Upland's progressive features and try to emulate them? Quite possibly. They might be able to do this for web-based, but trying to catch up on a mobile-first platform, that is going to take some significant time, money, and resources. So,
yeah, because everybody has a phone. Like, it's easier to have a phone than it is to have a computer or laptop.
Yep, and I think it's the Metaverse Street Journal. He posts out a lot of content, and I think we touched on this too, where he's saying like Africa and Asia is probably going to hold the key for this going mainstream. Like there's vast swathes. There's billions of people who don't have a laptop, but they've got a mobile phone connected to the internet. So, yep, that's a massively untapped kind of market. What about this next one? That's a bit eye-raising. That's holy mama pump our bags.
Wow. I believe that. It is estimated that Upland could generate up to 5 trillion by 2030. What do you think, Slav?
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
That's a hard number to fathom. If that was billion, I'd even be raising my eyebrows.
I feel like we're on the edge of Upland blowing up in a really good way. And people need to figure out if they want that to happen sooner or later. Like I could wait. Personally, I really want to get, there's so many things I still want to do. Like I want to get more of our outdoor decor out there. I want to get Bronxdale built out more and decorated. I want to save money to figure out what the heck STEM is going to be like, because we don't even have STEM yet. Imagine how crazy that's going to be when we can create living things.
Yep. I think, what was that article they put out, the USD sales? Was that 30 million since that Upland has generated 30 million in USD sales?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so I think what's the USD system been around for 2 years, maybe something like that, maybe a bit over. So 30 million in 2 years. But we know the player base, although it is far more than any of the other metaverses out there, it's still quite small in the grand scheme of things. What have we got? 65,000 active weekly wallets or something like that. I think we talk about on the UDU podcast. Of those active wallets, when we do anything in-game voting, it's maybe a couple of thousand. So if we've generated 30 million in sales from what's probably, if the player base is 65,000 a week, of that are highly engaged, maybe it's 20,000 something. So you're not talking about a whole bunch of people that have generated a whole bunch of cash. So never know. I don't know.
And I feel like Upland is starting to get more bigger investors in, maybe people who don't really want to play a game but are interested in accumulating assets.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that whole OMA3 side of things plays out. Like, obviously, these sorts of deals with Decentraland and Upland have probably been born out of those conversations that have happened with that kind of system. So, yes, interesting. All right, well, I think that's all very positive. Keep in mind, as I said, there is a significant percentage of the older established player base that are full-on fudsters that have kind of. Have you seen that they've started to try and maybe promote some other metaverse, like to try and get people to jump over to the Vive platform and all sorts of stuff? It's quite interesting how that's all panning out.
Yeah. I mean, I went into some of the other Discords I think a lot of people just want to be heard or need a place to vent, and they don't have that outlet. I know I talked to some people who were really negative on Upland, and I was able to actually get them to admit that they really like it, that they're just like not liking what's going on. I think it's unfortunate. Like I went into the Upland Daily, and I was talking to people, and it was pleasant. I didn't expect it to be as pleasant as it was, to be quite honest. I have been avoiding that place, but I talked to a lot of people who did promote other platforms such as like Helix or something.
Yeah.
And I mean, I personally like to be involved in a lot of stuff, and like I'll listen, but at the same time, like don't put down a game that so many people like. And they kind of listened to me, and they chilled out a bit on the FUD of Upland, just so that they can kind of like have an outlet to talk about their other stuff, which was nice.
Yeah. It's kind of like a bad breakup, isn't it? I mean, it's fine to move on and not want to be interested in that, but if you're still that passionate about FUDing on it, well, there's clearly some love still in the mix there somewhere.
Exactly.